Namaskar दोस्तों, welcome to ICEP Eluno, your trusted destination for deep legal insights and constitutional education. Today's topic is at the core of India's federal structure: distribution of legislative powers. We'll explore how our constitution divides lawmaking powers between the union and the states, how courts have interpreted this division, the present situation, and what the Sarkaria and Venkatachalya commissions have recommended to strengthen federalism. So stay with us till the end. Legislative power means the authority to make laws. In a federal country like India, this power must be divided between the central and state governments. India, though having a strong unitary bias, follows a quasi-federal structure, where the constitution clearly demarcates the legislative domain of both levels of government. This demarcation ensures cooperation and prevents conflicts. The basis of this division is Schedule 7 of the Constitution, which contains three lists: Union List, State List, Concurrent List. These lists define who can legislate on which subject, maintaining a balance between national unity and regional autonomy. Let's now understand the constitutional provisions that govern this legislative distribution. Article 245 empowers Parliament to make laws for the whole or any part of the territory of India, and state legislatures for their respective states. However, Parliament's law prevails if there's a conflict. Article 246. This article is the bedrock of legislative power distribution. It introduces the concept of subject matter jurisdiction. List I Union List, 97 subjects, only Parliament can make laws. List 2 State List, 66 subjects, exclusive domain of states. List 3 Concurrent List, 47 subjects, both Parliament and states can make laws. But in case of conflict, Union law prevails under Article 254. Schedule 7 provides the detailed subjects of the three lists. Examples: Union List, Defense, Foreign Affairs, Atomic Energy. State List, Police, Public Health, Agriculture. Concurrent List, Education, Forests, Criminal Law. Article 254. In case of repugnancy between laws made by the Parliament and the state legislature on a concurrent subject, the Union law will prevail. However, if the state law has received presidential assent, it may prevail in that state. Residuary powers. Article 248. Parliament has exclusive power to make laws on matters not enumerated in any of the three lists, such as digital currency or cyberspace. Parliament's power to legislate on state list. Under certain circumstances, the Union can even legislate on matters in the state list. Article 249. If Rajya Sabha passes a resolution with 2/3 majority that it's necessary in national interest. Article 250. During national emergency. Article 252. When two or more states pass a resolution requesting Parliament to legislate. Article 253. To implement international treaties. Article 356. During President's rule. This shows that India's federalism is not symmetrical but tilted in favor of the Union. Judicial interpretation. Now let's see how the judiciary has interpreted this division of powers over the years. The courts play a critical role in resolving disputes between center and states. Principle of harmonious construction. The Supreme Court often tries to harmonize overlapping entries between lists to give effect to both union and state laws. Doctrine of pith and substance. If the substance of a law falls within the powers of the legislature that made it, incidental encroachment on the other list is allowed. Landmark judgments. State of West Bengal v. Union of India, 1963. The Supreme Court held that Indian Constitution is not truly federal because the Union can legislate even on state matters under certain conditions. Zamir Ahmed Latifur Rahman Sheikh v. State of Maharashtra, 2010. It was held that if a subject is in the concurrent list, both center and state can make laws, but central law will prevail in case of conflict. State of Karnataka v. Union of India, 1977. This case reiterated that India is not federal in the strict sense. Centre has overriding powers. Hochest Pharmaceuticals Limited v. State of Bihar, 1983. This case reaffirmed the doctrine of pith and substance to settle legislative competence disputes. Thus, the judiciary has upheld Parliament's supremacy, especially in matters of national importance. Current position or challenges. Today, the distribution of legislative powers remains a topic of debate and concern. Dominance of the Union. The power of Parliament to legislate on state subjects during emergency, under Rajya Sabha resolution, and on residuary subjects shows a clear dominance of the Union. Concurrent list issues. Conflicts often arise in the concurrent list like education, forest conservation, marriage laws, especially when both levels pass laws on the same issue. Recent examples: the 2020 farm laws brought by the centre were challenged for allegedly encroaching upon the state list subject of agriculture. NEET exam has faced challenges from states like Tamil Nadu on the grounds of federal violation. GST regime: the GST Council, though cooperative in spirit, has raised concerns about fiscal autonomy of states. Central investigative agencies: the functioning of agencies like CBI and ED in states without consent has raised questions on the erosion of state powers. So, while the Constitution tries to balance powers, the trend in practice shows centralization. Sarkaria Commission recommendations. In 1983, the Sarkaria Commission was set up to examine center-state relations. Its report in 1988 gave significant recommendations: federal spirit, advocated for a cooperative federal structure and mutual respect. Article 356 misuse, recommended using President's rule only as a last resort. All India services, suggested that consent of states be taken before expanding All India services. Interstate Council, recommended strengthening the Interstate Council for better dialogue. Union dominance, recommended that Union's power to legislate on state lists be used sparingly. Concurrent list, recommended prior consultation with states before passing laws on concurrent subjects. These recommendations aimed at creating mutual trust and reducing friction. VENKATACHALIAH Commission. In 2000, the National Commission to Review the Working of the Constitution, NCRWC, headed by Justice M. N. Venkatachalya, gave its own set of recommendations: clear demarcation, recommended clearer classification of subjects between centre and states. Residuary powers, suggested reconsideration of exclusive residuary powers of Parliament. Strengthening federal institutions, urged the formation of a statutory intergovernmental council. Concurrent list review, advocated reducing the size of the concurrent list to avoid overlaps. Dispute redressal, suggested institutional mechanisms for resolving center-state conflicts. These reforms were proposed to make Indian federalism more balanced and effective. Conclusion. So friends, the distribution of legislative powers in India is a complex yet beautifully structured system. While the Constitution gives space to both centre and states to legislate, the balance often leans toward the centre. The Supreme Court has maintained a fine balance through doctrines like pith and substance and harmonious construction. Yet, centralization tendencies and political realities challenge the spirit of cooperative federalism. The Sarkaria and Venkatachalya commissions remind us that for a strong India, both levels of government must work in harmony, respecting each other's domains. If India is to evolve as a true federal democracy, reforms in legislative power sharing, fiscal relations, and intergovernmental dialogue are the need of the hour. Thanks for watching. If you found this content informative, do like, share and subscribe to channel. Leave your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing from you.